What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Triple Threat Talk. I'm your host today, Connor Ryan. No Jonah Newberger, unfortunately. Just a little busy, but it is what it is. But we will be back for another episode this weekend that will feature Jonah. That will be a much bigger episode. We got our Week 7 preview for the NFL and also the first preview of the NBA season coming up, which is going to be starting, I think, a week from yesterday. So a week from Tuesday. I'm recording this on the 15th. We'll be on the 16th. But welcome back. Very excited episode for everyone today. Week 6 recap. And then we're also going to get into a little bit of a Steelers and Bengals preview after the week 6 recap. And then also some MLB playoff check-in talk. But most importantly, before we begin, please like and subscribe. Follow along the journey. If you do enjoy this, please leave a comment down below. And if you have any things that you want us to talk about, let us know. If you have any questions that you want to ask us, leave them in the comments down below. We'd be more than happy to answer them. We're going to start doing a Q&A section a little bit further into the year, but let's get right into it. Big week 6 it was. I mean, I know where I would personally start, but I know not everybody here is going to be a Pats fan, so we'll get into that a little bit later, but we're going to start off with the final game of the week with the Bears and the Commanders. Starting this off for Jonah's sake, I know he would be going crazy right now. We're probably going to get his input on the Bears on Saturday's episode. But the fact of the matter is, huge win for the Bears. A team that was 0-2 going into the week against the Cowboys. And then they rattle off three straight wins plus a bye week. And now you're looking at the Bears if I'm a Bears fan, feeling a lot more confident than I once was. 3-2 so far in the year. Caleb Williams, 17-29 with 252 and a touchdown. But DeAndre Swift, this was the DeAndre Swift game. 14 carries, 108 yards, 2 receptions, 67 yards, and a touchdown. Real shame by me to start J.K. Dobbins and not DeAndre Swift this week. Tough loss. It is what it is. I got beat by a guy who had 170. What are you going to do about it? Nothing. You go on to the next week. Massive win for the Chicago Bears. A lot of the issue and a lot of the concern with the Bears has been the health of their defense. Obviously, losing Jalen Johnson. Kyle Gordon has been out for quite a bit of time now. And you look at that team and you say, do they really have it? Do they have what it takes to compete in this NFC North? We're talking about 4 legitimate teams. 4. Okay? We know about the Lions. We know about the Packers. The Vikings are heating up at the right time. Now we got the Bears. All 4 teams above 500. Hold on. Let me fact check that. Yes, all 4 teams above 500. That's good football. That's good football from a strong division. And the Bears need wins outside of their division to stay within the limits or to stay within reach of getting that playoff spot that they so desperately want. In regards to the Commanders, tough loss. The fact of the matter is, you got to control the ball. Krosky Merritt with the fumble, Jaden Daniels with a fumble here and there. I want to say there was a pick. Can't really remember. What are you going to do? But just for the Bears to go on the road into a environment in which literally you go back to last season, week 6, who do the Bears play? Or week 6, week 7, didn't mean to do that on purpose. So sorry about that. Anyway, in regards to the Bears, like their season, you could say like the true turning point of their season ending last year was the Hail Mary game against the Commanders. It just was. Everything beyond that just fell apart. To come back and to get this win in the environment in which it happened against the same quarterback and you have the clutch moment to win the game, that is redemption. That is getting your get back. Like, I mean, Cairo Santos is literally like, wait, hold on. It's not even Cairo Santos. Why can't I think of who the kicker was for the Bears? Jake Moody. Jake Moody, drafted by the 49ers a couple years ago, ends up falling out because of how bad he did for the Niners. And then you pick him up. The Bears do. He has a kick in the 4th quarter, gets blocked because it was too low. And then you're looking at this and you're like, great. Now we got to worry about this guy. And then he comes through in the clutch, gets the kick, and Bears fans are happy. You're looking at this team, they're trending in the right direction. Ben Johnson and Caleb and all of them, they're finding their rhythm. They're finding what works. It's clearly DeAndre Swift being a catalyst in this offense is really generating it a lot more than it was previously. I mean, rattling off 3 straight wins against the Cowboys, the Raiders, and now the Commanders, each getting better and better every week. 2 wins back-to-back on the road with a bye in between. So 4 weeks straight of winning, or 4 weeks of positive momentum within your team, within that dynamic, that really gets you going, moving forward into the next week. Now, am I worried about the Commanders in this spot? I'm not. I'm truly not. Jaden Daniels coming back from injury for, I think this was his second game back since the injury against the Packers and everything. So he's back, getting used to it, getting healthy. I mean, we saw how talented he was against the Chargers last week. It's just one of those games. It was rainy. It was a damp night in DC. Just couldn't really contain the ball, and that clearly was the difference. If I'm a Commanders fan, I'm sitting there and going, "Hey, tough loss. Obviously, no one's denying that, but to only lose by 1 on a game-winning field goal in which we truly played our worst." That is huge morale, like to carry you. Not saying huge morale in terms of like positive, but like more so just, hey, let's take a step back. We weren't as bad as people want to say we were. We can build off of this. We saw things that worked. Krosky Merritt truly like getting the ball more and having the ability in space. Sure, you can say the fumble was on him. It looked like it was more of a toss from Jaden into Krosky, but that's just how it's going to go. We're going to get points where it's like certain teams are going to get wins over other teams that you might not expect in ways that you might not think. But that's just what the NFL is, baby. Speaking of teams getting wins, or speaking of teams getting losses that you wouldn't really expect, the Buffalo Bills traveled to Atlanta and took the L for the second straight week. Buffalo Bills lose to the Atlanta Falcons 24-14. The Atlanta Falcons, I'm going to say it, looking real good. Now, do I have them like as a playoff team? No, but I think that's more so a testament to how strong the NFC is as a whole. Clearly in the East, you have the Eagles and the Commanders. In the North, you have all 4 of those teams with the Packers, Vikings, Bears, and the Lions. AFC South is obviously the weakest, but the Bucs are staying strong. Panthers are 500 for the first time since Cam Newton yelled he's back against the Cardinals. And obviously the Falcons. And then the West with the improvement of the Seahawks. We'll get into them in a little bit. The Rams getting better, but obviously hurts a lot with losing Nakua for at least this week, probably. But then you get a bye week. And then the 49ers. But the Falcons have really stepped up with the result of their true star talent being star talent. Their defense has always been a little bit of a concern. You always have had questions, and there were pieces within it where it was like the Grady Jarretts of the day and kind of just finding those guys who were a part of the defense, the Deion Joneses of the world, the true staples of that defense. They just never really put it together. And I'm not saying that their current defense is truly put together, but they're finding the pieces. AJ Terrell is playing a major part within that defense. You're just finding more and more guys who are proven at this level. Javon Hargrave is there, and he's playing a great defensive nose tackle situation. But it's the fact of the offense from the primary 3 that is really carrying the load. Michael Penix, 20-32 with 250 and a touchdown. Drake London doing legitimately 3/5 of the workload for Michael Penix with 10 receptions, 158 yards, and a touchdown. Really should have been 2 touchdowns, or would have been 2 touchdowns if he was more of a foot inside closer to the middle of the field on that dive at the end of the first half. But the star of the show and the reason why this team and the reason why this offense runs the way it does is because of the man who got 238 all-purpose yards, 170 on the ground, 68 on through the air with the receiving yards. It's Bijan Robinson. I mean, quite literally one of the worst announcer jinxes I have heard in quite a while. If you didn't hear, Chris Fowler, Dan Orlovsky, and Louis Riddick were talking about the lack of ability to stop explosive run plays for the Buffalo Bills. They're ranked last in the NFL with the amount of explosive run plays, and that's generally about 10, or I think it's 15 yards or 10 yards or more for a run play. Literally, they bring it up. Next play is Tyler Algier. Tyler Algier literally runs a 21-yard touchdown in to make it 7-0. And then what's the touchdown to basically knock out the Bills? Obviously, they didn't know it at the moment, but ultimately it did. The 81-yarder from Bijan Robinson. The ground game is really where the Falcons are going to make teams have problems. You have the bruiser in Algier. You have the finesse and receiving guy in Bijan Robinson, who's playing like the best running back in the NFL right now. It's either him or Jahmyr Gibbs or Josh Jacobs. But Drake London really was like Bijan was the X factor, but this doesn't happen. This game does not happen without Drake London. Like, just the safety belt on third downs that, like, it was either get Drake the ball or just dump it off to Bijan a couple of times. In terms of, if you see me reaching for my phone, it's just to check for stats. 20 out of the 20 completions that Michael Penix had on Monday night, 16 of them went to the duo of Drake London and Bijan Robinson, 10 respectively for London and 6 to Bijan. That is utilizing your stars. That is utilizing your best players and getting them in positions for them to succeed. We saw a lot with Bijan on those outside zones and setting up on literally a 7 to 8 foot perimeter from Penix beyond like the natural like halfback to your left or right position, like very far outside. Why? So he can get into the optimal space for where he can succeed and not really have to get the running start to get to that position and beat a guy. They're going to have to put a guy there, and then that's going to open up space somewhere else on the field. That is what the impact that Bijan Robinson can truly create on a defense. The Bills had so many problems. It clearly looks like that their defense is very behind in terms of being able to defend the exploit. And the benefit to the Falcons in this case is they really have three. I'd say they have two consistent ones in Bijan and Drake London. But when you have the third in Kyle Pitts, you obviously have to keep note of that, because I don't care if you are a believer in Kyle Pitts. I don't care if you are a doubter in Kyle Pitts. Professional football players, professional wide receivers, tight ends, running backs, if they are in open space with a easy to throw ball to them, they're going to usually catch it. And if they don't, then that's on them. You got to defend Kyle Pitts regardless. There's really no great matchup because he's faster than the linebacker. He's like the true mismatch. Faster than a linebacker, stronger and taller than a safety and a corner and everything like that. So you kind of have to like play the zone. And then that's just going to take away issues of like, that's going to just open up Drake London. It's going to open up Bijan in holes and gaps. So the Falcons are definitely in the right spot. They're in the right direction. And this was the win that they needed. Winning at home against a very high level opponent like the Bills. And sure, you can say what you want about the Bills in terms of the direction that they're trending in. Regardless, you're facing off against the NFL MVP. You're facing off against a guy who literally was voted or who won an award for being the most valuable player to his team. And we saw what that value does in regards to the Bills' success if Josh Allen doesn't show. Josh Allen did not have his best game. Multiple turnovers, multiple touchdowns regardless, but two picks, one costly at the end and one at the end of the first half. Overall, had multiple possessions where should have gotten the first, didn't, should have gotten the easier play, but didn't. James Cook was not getting going in the run game, and props to the Falcons for defending that very well. The Falcons did a lot of disruption within the mindset of Josh Allen. They really presented different looks. They got him out of space and prevented those bigger plays and kind of those situations. Now, is the injury to Dalton Kincaid a possible factor of that? Absolutely. I'm never going to deny that. He is quite literally one of the most effective players and one of the biggest correspondents of the result of Josh Allen and those broken plays on the outside and getting to the sideline, finding him, whatever. No Dalton Kincaid definitely hurts. But what I think really hurts, and specifically with this Bills team, is the lack of an outside true X factor. I just think if Josh Allen needs another, as much as people want to say like how much Stephon Diggs helped like Josh Allen, that's obviously very factor. But it is the benefit of if you have that one guy, if you have a true number one, that is huge for your team in the regards of being able to truly take away another thing from another guy. I understand the aspect of if you're going against the Broncos, you're going to have to deal with PS2. You're going to have to deal with Pat Surtain. If you're going against the Texans, you're going to have to deal with Derek Stingley. The Patriots, Christian Gonzalez. If you're going against just any team, Jets with Sauce, any team that has one of these elite corners, you have to you're going to go against. What that does, if you have that one guy, if you have a one, it puts the 1 versus 1 that gives you the other opportunity for the other guys to get going, and that gets you in rhythm. And then other guys are going to get moved, and it's going to cause things, and then it allows opportunities to get to that number one. I saw somebody say, "Hey, what if this guy goes to the Buffalo Bills? What if Chris Olave goes to the Buffalo Bills?" I personally would hate that as a Patriots fan, but I would love that as a Josh Allen supporter. I think that's great for him. You get a guy who was the number one guy in college and showed just how good he is, shows how good he is now by being one of the better wide receivers in the NFL. We're going to get into him, obviously, a little bit later when we talk about the Patriots, but quick little reference, Chris Olave, 6 receptions and 98 yards. That's not too shabby when you have Spencer Rattler as your quarterback. But the fact of the matter is, the Bills need something. They have the running attack pat with Josh Allen's ability to run, James Cook's ability to run. You need another weapon. You need a guy. And I personally would love it for my fantasy team if they went and got Olave. I don't know. I think it'd be pretty cool. Beats me. All right. Next matchup up. Sunday Night Football. Kansas City Chiefs versus the Detroit Lions. Chiefs win 30-17. The fact the concern is present. The devil is back, and we're done. The enjoyment time was over. But we have fallen back to earth. And Kansas City's back. I don't know why people thought they were out. They weren't. The Ravens are out. By far. 1-5. Lamar doesn't look like he's gonna he might be. I want to say the Ravens have this week, and then they have a bye next week. So that would be huge for them. But the Ravens are out. The Bengals are out. Those are true examples of those teams are out because those quarterbacks are going to be gone, or at least have been out for a substantial amount of time that they have to be flawless the rest of the way. And obviously the Bengals are just no shot. The Chiefs the ball has just gone the wrong way for them. If we all remember last year, the Chiefs went 10-0 in one-score games. In this year, they are 0-3. Yeah, so that's really what it is. It's nothing in terms of the philosophy has changed. Patrick Mahomes really hasn't changed his approach. Obviously, some of the chess pieces have changed, which doesn't really make a lot of sense because chess pieces don't change. But receivers do. And a major part of that is Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice was a major piece to the success of the Chiefs last year up until he got hurt in that Chargers game and was obviously out for the first 6 months or 6 games of the year due to his very intolerable act of almost murdering a family. But that's beyond the point. Somehow, whatever. The Chiefs have been just solid. They've been good. Their defense has been containing teams very, very well. Spagnuolo is still probably the best defensive coordinator in the NFL. And you look at the results, and it's easy win against the Giants. Sure, tough game against the Eagles, but that was just the Eagles being the Eagles and just being manipulative of the game. And then the Jags is a tough game. And then the Chargers, week 1 in Brazil. Then you blow out the Ravens, and then you have a really convincing win against the Lions and you're walking out of there 3-3, and you're walking in to the rest of your season in which you have a pretty annoying 4-game. You have a really tough 4-game stretch after this next one with the Raiders coming up on Sunday, but then you have Commanders at Bills, at Broncos, host the Colts. And then by that point, you're at the end of Thanksgiving, and then at Thanksgiving, they play the Cowboys. So in terms of a stretch, that's tough. But then you wrap it up with Texans, Chargers, Titans, Broncos, Raiders, and you could really take control of that division at the end. Patrick Mahomes is finding his stride. This defense is getting better. I hate the Chiefs, man. Just like I understand what people are going to say to me. Now you understand how Pats fans feel. Huh? Well, guess what? We beat your ass. How about that? Huh? Yeah. Anyway, in regards to the Lions, tough loss, but like, I'm not concerned because, like, let's be real. It's the Chiefs. Regardless of, I don't care if the other 52 players on that field for the Chiefs are ants. I don't care if they're bugs. I don't care if they're chickens. They have Patrick Mahomes at quarterback. He's different. I don't know how, but I'm beyond the hate part of Patrick Mahomes, and I'm just at he's just got it. It's just his. Okay? It's just his. It's Patrick Mahomes. He can do whatever with whatever. Imagine Patrick Mahomes with the Lions offense. Jeez Louise. That'd be ridiculous. Lions I'm not concerned about. Run into Patrick Mahomes, that's a buzzsaw, regardless of what it is. And you have the play at the beginning. I don't got much thoughts on that. I thought it was like, I think it's a little bit ridiculous, whatever. And then you have kind of just overall, like the run game didn't get going. The 4th down drop from Amon-Ra didn't help. Obviously the Goff touchdown, that would have been that's a massive swing difference. But all in all, Chiefs win. And with this, it's like the Chiefs find their spot back at the top of the totem pole. The Lions are going to be fine. And the truth is, it was like I get the delivery game. Oh, nice. I understand the concern, oh, we just lost to a Chiefs team when they were at their low, and it's like, sure, but a Chiefs team at their low is still a top 10 team in the NFL. And moving forward, tough game against the Bucs on Monday night, but then you have host the Viking. Oh my God, never mind. Detroit's going to have to win. Wait, am I reading this correctly? Of the, how many games is this? At this current moment, of the 11 remaining games for the Detroit Lions, only 3 of them are against teams with the current, as of right now, I mean Wednesday, October 15th. As of right now, 3 of the 11 games are against teams with 500 records or worse. The rest is all above 500. Buccaneers, Vikings, Commanders not above 500, Eagles, Giants not above 500, Packers. And then you go Cowboys who aren't above 500, and then you go Rams, Steelers, Vikings, Bears. Maybe they needed that win. I don't know. But the Lions are going to be okay. They're going to be fine. Zarch, don't worry. Don't worry. The time I have been waiting for. Ladies and gentlemen, the New Orleans Saints and the New England Patriots played on Sunday, October 12th. Drake Maye, Will Campbell, Keyshawn Boutte, Christian Gonzalez, DeMario Douglas, Harold Landry, Christian Barmore, Milton Williams, and Mike Freeman headed down to the Big Easy and faced off against the New Orleans Saints. Now, I know what a lot of you are thinking. But Connor, it's the New Orleans Saints. They aren't that good at football. Whoa. I don't care. The New England Patriots went into Buffalo and beat the reigning MVP and the Buffalo Bills to ultimately take away their undefeated season. And now causes a spiral of the Buffalo Bills. I'm kidding. Anyway, the New England Patriots had a trap game. It's as simple as that. I don't understand what you want me to say. It was a trap game. All right? The New England Patriots haven't had that big of a win, the one that was in Buffalo, since 2022 or probably 2021. That 2021 to be safe. They get this win, and then they go on the road to New Orleans. The most obvious team they should beat. The most obvious team, you got to win the game. And one man knew his job, and that's Drake Maye. Goes into the Superdome and goes 18 of 26 for 261 and 3 touchdowns. Now, in reality, that should say 20 of 26 for like 340 yards. Why? Because the Stephon Diggs pass interference was ghost, and the one for the illegal touching or the pass interference on Stephon Diggs in the first quarter for the long Pop Douglas touchdown that got taken back. That was a bad call. NFL referees, you got to listen to me. Sorry, notification. I'm not associated with the NFL, so I can say this. You guys suck. Figure it out or don't work as an NFL referee. Whatever. Okay? It's as simple as that. But Drake Maye showed why Drake Maye is going to be a superstar in the NFL. As if he wasn't already. He's playing like a top 5 quarterback, and he's putting himself in the MVP conversation. If Drake Maye, the Patriots are 3-0 this year on the road. 3-0. We're 1-2 in Foxborough. That's embarrassing in itself. We should be 2-1. We should be 5-1. Drake Maye is a consummate pro. He's playing like a veteran. He's making unreal throws. He's staying in the pocket. He's looking downfield when he is supposed to. Whenever he has the ball, he's moving with it, eyes downfield. He's not tucking down and looking down and running. He is taking control of the game in every facet of his offense. Now, if the run game was anywhere near as close as productive as this pass offense, the Patriots would have one of the best offenses in the NFL. Unfortunately, they have Ramondre Stevenson, who is a brick of a person, and they need to give the ball to Travion Henderson more. Drake Maye led the team in rushing yards again for the second straight week. That's not what you want to do to your second-year quarterback. Now, I get it. You're going to need him to do that sometimes, but not all the time. You can't have him be your leading rusher. It's just concerning. Josh McDaniels is consummate at one thing, and that is horrible run plays. I don't know why he doesn't have a stretch, a power, any sort of outside zone that isn't a halfback gut or halfback wham or halfback dive. Figure it out, McDaniels. I don't know why this has become somewhat of a rant. We're back. Slow down. Anyway, awesome win for the Patriots. Oh my God. Kayshon Boutte looked like a wide receiver 1. Stephon Diggs, I get, wasn't as present in this game, but when you have the game from Boutte, when you have the game from Pop as the way he did, it's okay to have that balance. It's okay to have that. And to get the result that you do from this team on the road in a trap game is massive. Now you finish out this road trip against Tennessee, and then you go home happy. Because then you get to go home and you face against the Browns. That's awesome. Oh my God. Julio Rodriguez, 2-run homer. Wow. Would you look at that? Anyway, the New England Patriots are finding their stride. The offensive line is looking key. Will Campbell's truly looking like the 4th overall pick and looking like the best O-line player in the draft right now. My only concern is the defense. There are a lot of times where the run support isn't that great. The linebackers are very weak, and the edge rushers aren't getting I'd say other than the first couple weeks with Harold Landry, there just hasn't been a lot of presence on the edge. Christian Barmore and Milton Williams has done their job securing the inside of that line. But Carlton Davis, I think, needs to step up more. Christian Gonzalez is obviously Christian Gonzalez, but Carlton Davis said that, hey, he may be 1, but I'm also a 1. And he's playing like a 4. He's playing like a cornerback 4 right now. Figure it out, Carlton. We paid you a lot of money to be that good. Anyway, I mean, for the Saints, Chris Olave, really good game. Solid game from Kamara. I'm not sure, there are a lot of concerns for the Saints, but I'd say it's more so just they have a lot of guys who I think would be very good, just not in the Saints system, because they don't really blend well together. I think Kamara is clearly I think Kamara's time in New Orleans is coming to an end, and I think he'd be great in New England. Anyway, sorry for the Drake Maye splurge fest, but I had to talk about my guy. He's playing like one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And if you can't admit that, then I think you got bigger things to worry about. I think you got bigger fish to fry if you can't admit that Drake May is playing like one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I don't really care where you have him ranked. I personally right now have him ranked as like 8 or 7, 7 or 8, in that range in terms of like the best quarterbacks in the NFL right now. But he is damn good. And you gotta either get on the train now or you might as well get out of the way because we ain't stopping. So shout out Drake May. On to the next game, which was the Seattle Seahawks versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't really have a lot to say on this game. I really don't. But I do have something to say about this. Sam Darnold and Jackson Smith and Jigba are, in my opinion, right now, healthy. And I'm including Puka on this list, Puka and Stafford. I think a top 3 wide receiver and QB duo in the NFL right now. Jackson Smith and Jigba leads the NFL in yards, in receiving yards this year. A lot of that is because of Sam Darnold. He doesn't really turn the ball over a lot. He doesn't really force it in the direction that it needs to go in. He lets it come to him. And a lot of that is because of JSN. 42 receptions, 6 yards through 6 weeks with 3 touchdowns. He'll easily, if he continues at the rate he should be a 100, 1,010 guy, and it'll be a really, really good season from Jackson Smith and Jigba. And he's going to show why he's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. But this team is like, it's special. I'm going to be honest. I'm loving the Seattle Seahawks right now. Because you look at this team and you lose to San Francisco at your home place first week, and then you rattle off big win against the Steelers, massive win at home against the Saints, close one in Arizona. You lose a tough one against Tampa Bay at home, but then you win a massive one in Jacksonville. You're 3-0 on the road this year. Sure, the at-home record needs to be touched up a little bit, but this is a fun team. They're a dangerous team. They're not a team that you want to like. They're a team that you do not want to mess around with because they have this talent. They have like these guys who really can step up. Their O-line is really solid. Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker are a really good, solid run duo. And then you have other guys like Jake Bobo and Troy Horton and Tyrone Broden as guys who can really step up. Cooper Kupp, obviously. And so this team is really finding their rhythm. They're finding their groove. It's Jackson Smith and Jigba and Sam Darnold as a duo are untouchable right now. Untouchable. And it's a lot of fun to watch. Final game from the recap. And if we're going to talk about MVPs, we can't go without talking this guy. San Francisco 49ers lose to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 30-19. And we know why. Because the current favorite, in my opinion, for the NFL MVP plays for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He doesn't need his wide receiver 1, his wide receiver 2, his wide receiver 3, his running back 1, his left tackle 1, and his right tackle 1. Because Baker Mayfield is a fucking baller. Excuse my language, Dad. Sorry. Geez. Baker Mayfield is cooking. And I don't mean that as a Baker joke. Whatever. Baker Mayfield has been quite literally on a different planet this year. Okay? 1,500 yards, 12 touchdowns, 1 interception through 6 games so far. 3-0 on the road, heading to Detroit this upcoming week to play off against the Lions team in Detroit. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about last week's game against the Niners, in which he showed why he was the number 1 pick out of Oklahoma. He showed why he was the Heisman Trophy winner at the University of Oklahoma. He showed why you do not count a man out until he stops breathing. Drafted by the Browns in 2018, brings them to a playoff game for the first time in like forever as a franchise. And what do? Hit the road, Jack. Goes to Carolina, is a third string to Cam Newton, or to like Andy Dalton, Cam Newton, and Sam Darnold. literally was playing practice squad as a running back or as a linebacker, has a miraculous journey on I think 2 days worth of knowing the playbook again for the Rams against the Raiders, and leads a crazy 91-yard game-winning drive. And ultimately signs with the Bucs after Brady leaves. And how does he respond? I don't know. By being one of the best quarterbacks in the entire timeline since he's been with the Bucs. It's Baker Mayfield's world, and we're just living in it. When are we going to start considering the guys like a Baker, who should be one of the best quarterbacks, or should be considered one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL? It was really funny. He did, in an interview, he was talking about how earlier in his career he would have this swagger and everything, but everyone would always call it like childish and you got to change it, and didn't really understand it. But now in the position that he's in, and now that he's winning, they're calling it moxie and the swagger that he has. And I think it's just funny with the double narrative and everything like that. But he's a dog. It's as simple as that. Baker Mayfield's a dog, and you gotta embrace it. Now, losing Igbuka hurts, but I think they're going to be getting Mike Evans back, and Godwin will be fully back pretty soon. Tristan Wirfs hopefully is healing up well, but I mean, as long as you got that guy, you got to feel confident as a Bucs fan. The defense is playing solid. The O-line is showing up, even though guys are going down. And Tez Johnson, Cameron Johnson, like Rashad White, they're stepping in for Bucky Irving, and Igbuka going down now, and Evans and Godwin. Those guys are stepping up. Todd Bowles has one of the best teams in the NFL, and a lot of people don't want to acknowledge it. But hey, the Buccaneers are going to be a story this year, and you just got to admit it. You just have to. We're done with the Week 6 recap. I'm going to get some quick water here. A quick little check-in. Okay, still 2-0 for Mariners, Blue Jays. I guess, yeah, might as well just dive into the MLB playoff check-in right now, because before we get into the Steelers-Bengals preview, and then we'll wrap it up. So MLB playoffs, Mariners are up 2-0 against the Blue Jays. Game 3 is currently happening right now. Julio Rodriguez hit a 2-run homer to make it 2-0 Mariners. It is currently 2-0 in the game and 2-0 in the series. And, just with the way the baseball format is with Game 7, with the 7-game series, if you split the 2 games at home, you really put yourself or if you lose, especially if you lose both of the 2 first games at home, or the road team wins the first 2 games, then you have to go to their place and win at least 2 of 3 at least, and then you get to go back home. That's tough. And that's currently the position that both the Blue Jays and the Brewers are in. Both down 2-0 to the team that is the lower seed. The Mariners are 2-0 against the Blue Jays. A lot of it is because of their hitting ability. Game 1, Cal Raleigh came in clutch, and then Jorge Polanco was Mr. Clutch, like he has been all postseason. And then Game 2 was just bats on bats on bats. It was Julio Rodriguez. It was J.P. Crawford getting in on the action. Jorge Polanco got in on the action. Eugenio Suarez got in. So that's how the Mariners have really done it, is just showing it with the offense, and then they have the pitching to go with it. The Dodgers are showing that they have the pitching and then the offense to supplement. 8 innings, 1 hit, 10 strikeouts for Blake Snell. 9 innings, 1 earned run off of the first pitch of the game to Jackson Chourio, or off of the first batter of the game. No, first pitch off of Jackson Chourio. Other than that first pitch, 9 innings, 0 earned runs, couple of hits from Yoshinobu Yamamoto. When was the last time we saw a rotation as primed, as purely ready for the playoffs as the Dodgers are? They have 2 guys who are true workhorses in Yamamoto and Snell. You have a guy who's a third if he is truly healthy and on in Tyler Glasnow. And then you have Shohei Ohtani, who could be your number 4 guy on a consistent basis. The greatest baseball player of all time, who is also quite literally like a top 20 starting pitcher in the MLB when he is fully healthy, is your number 4 rotation guy. What? First game was 2-1, and it was based on a Freddie Freeman home run and a walk with the bases loaded for Mookie Betts, and then And basically, the Brewers could have scored. The Brewers had a chance to tie it, but Bryce Terang not taking the pitch and ultimately swinging at a ball. And that's the loss there. And then game 2 was just the dominance of Yamamoto. Churio hits the home run to start it off, and then the Dodgers just chip away, get the 2 runs, then a solo homer from Muncy, and then 2 more runs off the singles, and then it was over at that point. The Dodgers are just too good, and I understand the issue of what this is going to cause if they win. It's just going to cause a lockout in 2027, unless a salary cap is introduced somehow. I don't know how. Whatever. The Dodgers are a problem. I mean, my preferred World Series is Mariners Brewers. I think those two teams deserve, like, with what they've been through for the last 20 plus years in terms of bullshit and everything like that. But I mean, really good matchup so far. Just come on, Brewers. Gotta put up a fight. To wrap it up, one more thing. Steelers Bengals. Thursday night matchup. We're coming out tonight. It's the Steelers. I don't know what you want me to say. I don't know what you want me to do. I don't know what you want me to tell you. But the fact of the matter is, Joe Burrow isn't playing. And he isn't going to be playing until probably week 13, week 12 at least. Okay? Joe Flacco is not a subsequent starter in the NFL anymore. Unfortunately, he's going to be fine for the time being, but until Joe Burrow comes back, it's not going to be good. The Steelers are looking solid. Their defense looks good, looks solid. The corners are coming into play now with Darius Slay, Jalen Ramsey, and Joey Porter. Derek Harmon was out for a little bit, and they now have some guys back on the defensive side of the ball. But Rodgers looks good. He looks solid. Then you throw in Kenneth Gainwell and Jalen Warren. DK Metcalf is having himself a really solid year. Just more and more that rolls on with this Steelers team. Just getting better and better. 4-1, tough loss against Seattle in week 2, but ever since then, they've held their own. Now, granted, will I always be mad about that week 3 game? Yeah, we don't bring that up. But it is what it is. I got the Steelers, and I got them. I actually do have them big. I would actually take I would take the Steelers to cover the spread pretty easily. But that's just me. I get it. 4.5 points is a lot for an in-division matchup, but no offense, but Joe Flacco has notorious history about crushing the Steelers, but it is what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, I really appreciate you for all being here today. If you enjoyed this video, if you enjoy the podcast, please like and subscribe. Really appreciate the support so far. Follow us along on the socials: Instagram, Talking Triple; X, Talking Triple; IG, or TikTok, Triple Threat Talk 0. Follow us there. Like and subscribe. Comment down below. Please let me know if you want to hear us talk about something that you want us to talk about. Let us know, and we will talk about it. I will see you on Saturday for another episode with Jonah. But until then, peace out, everybody. See you all on Saturday for another episode. Hope you have a great day.